there's a passage in the Talmud. It says, if you save one life, you save the whole world. So we're here to save lives in Illinois. This statute that I'm going to sign today is very important to encourage everyone to be participants in this special opportunity to save a life. And we don't want anyone to be afraid to do that. And that's why we're amending our Good Samaritan law. And I think it's important to acknowledge some of those who have worked with us in the past and are working with us now, and they will in the future. 300,000 people a year suffer from sudden cardiac arrest. And everything we can do through CPR, through AEDs, to save lives is very, very important. And we've been able to make great strides in this area. We're going to hear from a couple of people.
I'm humbly stand here. I did nothing but wake up one Sunday morning, prepared for a 10K fun run, and I remember changing my clothes because it was a little too warm, and before I left the house, and the next thing I remember, it was Tuesday morning, and I was in a hospital bed looking at my sister going, "What are you doing here?" And then looking around the room and saying, "Well, wait, what am I doing here?" And a lot had occurred between the middle of the race when I decided I would stay back and get some water, and my friends would run ahead, including someone saying "man down" when he saw me go off and lay down on a suburban park lawn. A nurse being alerted at the water station up ahead that there was a man down, came over looking for someone with a skinned knee or sprained ankle, pointed me out on the lawn. She would have never found me otherwise. She had just been recertified in CPR, sort of saw my face, my age, no heartbeat, and saw the ring on my hand and said, you've got a wife, you probably got kids, you're going to live, damn it," and kept working on me until the paramedics arrived, who had heard the alert of man down as well. So it was the CPR, almost a bystander, but it's coincidentally the right person there at the right time, the paramedics that had been alerted, the defibrillation, which worked the second time, early intervention in the cardiac cath lab at what was then Rush North Shore, and more or less a full recovery. The governor probably has little doubts about some of that, but it is, I had nothing to do with it. I went running, and everything else was a result. My being here today is just a result of everybody else who you work on, the people you educate, doing the things that they knew how to do and wanted to do and could do. I'm just a beneficiary of all that, and it's very gratifying to be part of a process that sees us trying to do more, encourage you to do more, and let the public know that this is something that can be done, and that those 300,000 people, just a tiny fraction, survive, but a much larger percentage of that population can survive and become, continue their lives and their roles in society. So
2 years ago, I was playing tennis at my tennis club in my regular group, and I suffered a heart attack with sudden cardiac arrest. Fortunately for me, the club had an AED on the premises, and everybody acted. My fellow players tried to administer CPR, and the owner, Jim Boyce, he had the training on the AED, and he saved my life and brought me back. So the outcome would have been very different if people were afraid and had not acted that day. So I'm very also grateful to all of you and these organizations for their efforts.
Name's Fred. I work at Cardinal Fitness of Westchester. On March 8th, normal Tuesday night, was working with one of my clients when somebody had mentioned that there was a man down. Upon arriving over to the machine that he was working on, he was half on the chest press machine, half off. We pulled him off the machine, stabilized him, called 911. I signaled for the AED. Something weird happened though, because a thing of pills fell out of his pocket, nitrogen pills. So when I pulled up his shirt, I realized that he had already had a scar. We checked for a pulse, absolutely no pulse. Renee Wojnarowski, who was a nurse, she was working out at the facility at the time. We both worked in tandem with CPR, hooking up the AED machine. When we got the machine up and running, it scared everybody because it told us to administer the shock. upon administering the shock. The color in Dan Tuttle's mouth immediately was revived. He started breathing again. 911, again, we called 911, so the paramedics showed up. From start to finish, from the time that we noticed that he was down, was roughly 11 and a half minutes. Had we not used the AED and not known what to do, Dan Tuttle would not be breathing today. So, you know, what's going on today is awesome, and I think a lot more people need to be aware of their surroundings, because when you're grocery shopping in Dominic's, everywhere you turn there is an AED machine up on the wall. And you don't need to be afraid, because what we're signing here today, what you're signing here today, is going to protect. What you're signing here today is going to protect me and fellow civilians, you know, to go out there and do the right thing. So.
Hi. Earlier this year, on January 27th, I happened to be on duty, and I received a call of a subject who was unconscious, unresponsive, and he was at work. He was in a business. When I got there, I saw his supervisor actually was quick on the ball. His name, and the supervisor is Christopher Urbanek, and he should be acknowledged because he was performing CPR. It was immediate. He was on this guy, and when I saw him, he backed off. I had my AED. I hooked up the AED. It analyzed the heart rhythm and advised give him a shock. So I did. It gave the post-analysis, said go ahead and perform CPR. I had some other people there with the police department. Sergeant Tony Minio helped me out. He did the rescue breathing. I did chest compressions. We did that for approximately 2 minutes. Shortly after that, Glenside Fire Department arrived. They took over. As soon as they hooked up their machines, they said, you guys got a pulse. You have a pulse on him. He's still not breathing, but he does have a pulse. They brought him over to the hospital, made a complete recovery. So it was very fortunate. A lot of good people there, a lot of guys on the ball, and especially where the guy worked. And it all worked out good. He's 55 years old, and he's still with us today, so it turned out to be great.